size. Does it really matter?
It's not like how they show it in porn, right?
Right.
They don't show you the first 50 takes that they have taken to get the final take. Penile size is considered as a sign of masculinity or virility, and that is why if you have a bigger penis, you are more alpha. Sex does not happen, between the two legs. It's actually between the 2 ears.
I'm just going to ask you a side question. What is angry sex? Because you are obviously angry with each other and it's supposed to be mind blowing. This is a safe space. This is the space where we talk about the science, the soul, and the sass of intimacy and wellness. Welcome to the next episode of The Pleasure Principle. Whether you're here to learn, unlearn, or just curious, this is your safe, smart, and slightly cheeky corner to talk about what really matters beneath the surface. We have with us Dr. Mansi Jain. Dr. Mansi, you've been practicing for 10 years. You're a psychiatrist. Tell us a little about this one-decade journey of yours.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here, Jyotika. It's been a wonderful journey, quite rewarding. Nothing feels as good as, kind of relieving people's troubles and, especially when they come back with a positive result, and it's quite good to feel that.
All right, so let's talk about the elephant in the room. I'm talking about size. Does it really matter?
So there is no straightforward answer to this, right? A lot of us expect a yes or a no kind of answer. Well, anatomically speaking, no, it does not matter. The average size, the average length of a vagina is around 3 to 4 inches, especially when it's not aroused, and the average length of a penis is around 3 to 4 inches when it is not aroused. Also, we need to understand that only the outer 1/3 of the vagina is something that has sensations. Most of sexual pleasure comes from clitoral stimulation and not your penetrative vaginal intercourse. So most of us feel that the size needs to be bigger for us to feel pleasure, but that's not actually true. Sexual performance and pleasure depends a lot upon your technique, your foreplay, and your emotional connection with the partner. So that is something that we need to understand. But given that it's such a big myth that size, bigger size is equal to better sex, a lot of us have expectations. A lot of us have, self-esteem issues when it comes to size, and for women, it is a lot of expectations from their partners, and that is how it affects your intimacy and your relationship with your partner. So, per se, anatomically, if you have an average-sized penis, anywhere between 3 to 4 inches, or an average-sized sex organ, it should be fine. It's not a problem. But because of unrealistic expectations, it can lead to additional pressure in your relationship.
I would assume that a lot of these unreal expectations come through porn because
Yes.
everything is so perfect. You're getting undressed in the most sexy manner. The bodies look perfect. It looks like they have great coordination. They're in sync. And then, of course, the size factor also comes in there.
Yes.
So, what do you think can be done to undo this myth of size being important?
By understanding that it's not just the size that matters. That's the most important thing. That conversation needs to happen, and the conversation needs to happen between two partners, and even on general platforms like this, that size is not important. In fact, we know that larger sizes are associated with more pain during sexual intercourse, especially penile sizes. So it's not that it's always pleasant, right? It depends upon how you are interacting with your partner, how you are exciting your partner, what foreplay you are having, and what techniques you have. And what does your partner like? So that conversation is the most important. What are your pleasure points? What is your idea, or what are your fantasies, right? That is something that we need to discuss, and something that needs effort. The first time is not going to be perfect. It's very rare that it happens, right? So even if you need to improve upon your performance, it's a skill that you learn. It's not like how they show it in porn, right? They don't show you the first 50 takes that they have taken to get the final take.
So how much of size anxiety is physical, and how much is it based on social conditioning and psychological issues?
So it is purely psychological, right? So your penile size is not actually connected to a physiological response in your body. It's how you perceive that size to be. So if you think that you have a small penis, or if your partner thinks that, oh, you are not going to be good in bed because you have a small penis, that's what leads to anxiety. Anxiety is something that stops you from performing. So you might not get a good erection, you might not feel aroused adequately when you are feeling anxious, and that in loop again leads to feeling more anxious. So I'm not able to perform well, I feel more anxious, and that started because of anxiety.
Right.
So that's actually a loop. So that's the physiological basis, basically.
Right. So you spoke about how technique is more important, communication is more important, and emotional connection is so important. Tell us more about that.
So we need to understand that sex does not happen, between the two legs. It's actually between the two ears. It's your brain. That's the most important sexual organ. If you're not in a good mental state, if you're not feeling aroused, if you don't feel attracted to your partner and connected and safe with your partner, you're not going to be able to enjoy sex, right? So if you know what your partner needs, if you can pleasure your partner in a particular way, if you've discussed with your partner what are your fantasies, what is it that you like in bed, where is it you like to be touched, or how is it that you like to be touched, or throughout the day, if your partner has made you feel good, your performance in bed is going to be good, right? But if you've had a fight throughout the day, or if you've been under stress and you don't connect with your partner emotionally, your performance is not going to be good.
I'm just going to ask you a side question. What is angry sex? Because you are obviously angry with each other and it's supposed to be mind-blowing, right?
Absolutely. So a lot of couples, after they fought, when they resolve the fight, in that state of arousal, they kind of engage in sexual activity. That's what we usually call, post-fight sex or angry sex. A lot of people enjoy it, but then again, we need to understand whether the fight has been healthily resolved, right?
Right.
So if partners have a good emotional connect, even after a fight, they are able to still feel that love and intimacy with each other, and that kind of improves their performance.
And I'm guessing it's more on behalf of the woman, because 9 out of 10 times it's the woman who wants to talk and the partner or husband doesn't want to talk, and then it remains like an unsolved issue, and then obviously sex life will get affected.
Absolutely. So one partner is usually more communicative and the other is not, and that comes from a lot of the personality factors, your childhood traumas, how you were while growing up, and all of that kind of affects, how you connect with your partner. So yes, once you've resolved a fight, there is a sense of validation, there's a sense of safety and comfort in the relationship, and that definitely improves performance.
So, to put it very simply and break it down for our audience, what are the things that matter while having sex?
Firstly would be your emotional connection with your partner. Second would be your stress levels, how good you are feeling throughout the day and how rewarded you are feeling throughout the day with other activities. Your physical fitness, right? So you need to be in a good physical condition to be able to enjoy your sexual intercourse with your partner. And lastly would be your mental health, right? How good you are feeling about yourself, about your partner and the relationship. That will kind of improve your sexual performance.
While we're discussing open communication, I have two questions. One is that the size of the penis is still a taboo, and it's also competition for men, I have come to believe, because there are so many of these loose conversations that men have amongst themselves about who is bigger and who is more alpha or whatever. So how to have more open communication, as in not keep it a taboo, and second thing is, where does this come from? If we take a step back and we try to understand why the penis size is so important, who said that bigger is better? What is your thought on that?
So I don't know if there's any particular reference as to who said that bigger is better, but it's always considered that ways, at least in the recent past. But we do know that in ancient cultures like Roman culture, a smaller penis size was considered to be more virile. So just like beauty standards change for women, so today black is the new pink, tomorrow orange is going to be the new pink, right? So since beauty standards change, body image or body standards change, right? So at one point, more healthier women were considered to be a better a kind of partner, because that meant that you are healthier and you can have better children, right? So fuller bodies were considered more beautiful than leaner bodies. So it keeps changing, societal perceptions keep changing, and it's a big myth that bigger is better or smaller is better. Neither of them. It's more about personal preference, and it's more about how you use it to pleasure your partner, definitely.
Right.
And why is it a taboo topic is because I think in general in Indian culture, we are not talking about sex. We don't talk about intimacy. We don't teach our children safe touch, unsafe touch. We don't kind of tell them about puberty and sexual changes. So in general, it's a hush-hush thing. Now that's again cultural, religious, personal, a lot of barriers.
Right. So I also mentioned being the alpha. So does toxic masculinity also play a role in, reinforcing the fact that the myth rather that size is important?
Penile size is considered as a sign of masculinity or virility, and that is why if you have a bigger penis, you are more alpha. On the other hand, what we also see is that people who don't have a bigger penis might be suffering with self-esteem issues, and that makes them have certain coping mechanisms where they are more aggressive towards their partner to kind of assert their dominance over their partner. So both these feed into your toxic masculinity kind of structures, definitely.
Right. And how can we teach body neutrality or body positivity, especially to men younger men who are now sort of exploring themselves and will become sexually active, and how do we help them feel good about themselves irrespective of the tools that God has given them?
So we start this conversation young, right? When we are teaching toddlers and we are teaching, like we start with consent. When children are as young as 2 and 3 years old, we tell them that it's okay to say no if you don't want a hug or if you don't want a kiss. We label body parts accordingly. We tell them that what is a body part called properly. Then we teach them that everybody has a different experience or everybody has a different body. So there is no right or wrong, or there is no good or bad in this. That's what we need to do. And we need to have more open conversations with our children, with our youngsters. Whenever we see these references in pop media or in your digital media, we need to kind of tag them and use that as a teaching moment to say that, okay, no, this is not okay, this is what most people think, but it's not actually a healthy thought process. So that's what we need to do.
So last question, Dr. Mansi, I want to understand from you, how can we explain to people that sexual satisfaction goes beyond performance in terms of the intercourse and appearances?
So we need to understand that it's more about sexual wellness and not just sexual performance. You are not going to feel the desire or the arousal if you are not feeling good about your partner, if your relationship is not good, if you're not yourself in a good mental space, and if you're stressed out about something. So that's what we need to understand, that sexual satisfaction also needs to build emotional intimacy, your relationship strength, and a safe space for you and your partner. Having non-judgmental conversations, being open and being okay with being vulnerable with your partner. That is something that can promote this.
Right. So this has been great. Thank you so much. I hope a lot of men who think that bigger is better watch this, and from red flag go on to be some green flags in our lives.
Not just men, I think even women need to watch it, because men might at least know that what they can do, but women need to break this misconception that, oh, the man needs to have a bigger penis to satisfy me. That's absolutely not true. You need to understand your body, and then you need to help your partner understand your body and understand theirs, and that's what builds a good sexual relationship.
Great. Thank you so much. This has been a great episode. To conclude, I would just like to say that at the end of the day, it's not about what you have, it is about how you use it. So that's it for this week, but we will be back next week, and make sure you like and subscribe and comment on this video, because this is the kind of content you definitely don't want to miss out on. And what we're going to talk about next week can totally come from you. So let us know in the comments what you want me to ask Dr. Mansi, and what kind of topics you would want to know, information that you want about sexual wellness. Thank you.
94.3 Radio 1.